We're going to look at it. So foul there on Indiana, on hole there. But then that is a technical.
That is a technical. Dead ball, contact technical.
It's a little surprising to see so many of these happen in one game because...
Oh, and I don't like the way Lexie Hull...
Remember the last time the Indiana Fever and Minnesota Lynx met? Did Lexie Hull just get the ultimate revenge on Kayla McBride? In their last matchup, McBride's elbow smashed Hull in the face, yet the refs still penalized Hull. This time, in the Fever's huge win, Hull fired back and left the crowd stunned. It wasn't just a highlight, it was redemption and proof of Indiana's grit. Want to see how this moment defines the Fever's playoff push? Drop some love for Lexie in the comments below. Let's go!
Final score, Fever 83, Lynx 72. Indiana ends the regular season with an exclamation point. Fever have won 3 in a row as they enter the playoffs.
How does a team survive when nearly half its rotation disappears? The Indiana Fever had to find out the hard way. Game after game, players hit the injury list. Caitlin Clark, groin. Sophie Cunningham, MCL. Sydney Colson, ACL. Chloe BBY, knee. Ari McDonald, fractured foot. That's basically a full starting lineup, all in street clothes. Stacked together, it left Indiana with one of the thinnest rosters in the league. No preseason plan could prepare a team for that kind of collapse.
I know a lot of people will talk about Nafisa not playing, but I think they're really good without her. You know, they're just a really great basketball team. So I think it was a big win for us because they set the bar high standard wise. We know what to expect when it comes to Minnesota Lynx, and so I think going into the playoffs, it was big for us because being able to know guarding Courtney Williams, knowing that her thing is a pull-up, knowing that now instead of not knowing that, it's big for us because we give ourselves a chance, and if they are the standard, we get to see where we are.
Then came the announcement. Caitlin Clark's season was over. What started as a nagging groin issue became a permanent entry on the injury sheet. Her rookie year, meant to fast-track the Fever into national relevance, ended not with a playoff debut, but with a press release. News like that can crush a team's spirit, especially one leaning on her energy to survive the grind. It hit the roster, and it hit the fans from Indiana to Iowa. Clark wasn't just a ticket seller. She was the heartbeat of the season. Losing her felt like the clearest sign that the Fever's playoff hopes might vanish just as quickly.
One of the things that I've been impressed with these guys since even the offseason, really the ones that I was able to work out with in the offseason, is how hard they work. There's a work ethic and there's a work style. And to approach everything in the same way, to be so energetic, enthusiastic, and dedicated every day. And I felt that way in training camp too. There weren't any days where I had to bring that out of them. So I think it's the nature of the women that we brought into this organization to continue to just bust their butts and play hard.
But while Clark cheered from the bench, someone had to fill the void. That was Kelsey Mitchell. She didn't just score more, she became the centerpiece. Mitchell turned into the franchise's most productive scorer ever, surpassing even Tamika Catching's single-season marks. She averaged over 20 points a game while handling the ball, fighting through double teams, and sitting at the top of every scouting report. Night after night, Mitchell delivered the offensive punch that kept the Fever alive when their season should have flatlined.
Kind of all the other things like offensive rebounding that she can do.
Knocked away, Boston comes up with a steal. Here is Mitchell veering through the paint and lays it in.
She's so quick, and especially when she gets out in the open floor, you'll see her coming down. The quick left to right crossover just gets by. I thought she was sprinting. I didn't think she was lumbering.
It was a lumber sprint.
Up for the big girl.
Mitchell like a blur.
Boston carried the other half of the load. Averaging 15 points and over 8 rebounds across her last 10 games, she wasn't just working, she was reliable. In a season gutted by absences, she became Indiana's anchor. Battling bigger forwards, clearing the glass, and keeping possessions alive, Boston was the stabilizer no matter how messy the lineups got. She even set a new franchise record for single-season rebounds. That steadiness is the only reason the Fever's defense never fully collapsed.
8 teams have ever done that. 7 of them went on to win the title. As Boston gets free and lays it in.
She will be on my first team.
Boston in the paint, sneaks through 2 and lays it in.
So ask yourself, after all that, could this team really still dream of a playoff berth? By any logic, the answer was no. Yet that's not where the story ended. Instead of folding, they turned every setback into fuel. Frustration, roster changes, even the refs. It all pushed them harder. Role players became nightly contributors, hardship signings put up double figures, and bench pieces claimed bigger minutes with pride.
Yeah! With the MVP, okay? Bow, bow, bow! Hell yeah. You already know what it is. Dubs in the chat, you already know what it is. You already know what it is. Let's go to the playoffs with some momentum, baby.
Just a few weeks ago, the Fever had dropped 4 of 5. Momentum gone, fan buzz fading, and national chatter circling back to whether Caitlin Clark's absence had gutted their progress. Most teams in that spot collapse. Indiana didn't. They flipped the script, grinding out 3 straight wins, each one proof of a roster redefining itself. The third came against Minnesota, and it mattered because almost no one believed the Fever could handle that matchup.
Before the playoffs start Sunday tonight, it's regular season game 44 of 44 for the Fever as they host the WNBA's best team in 2025, the Minnesota Lynx.
The way Indiana controlled that game silenced doubts. From the opening tip, they looked prepared and confident. A 10-0 run in the first quarter set the tone. They weren't hanging around, they were dictating. By halftime, the lead was double digits, and it never looked in danger. Minnesota searched for rhythm, but cold shooting and Indiana's pressure defense turned trips into empty possessions. The Lynx hit just 2 of 20 from deep, every miss making it clear this was Indiana's night.
It'll be Alana Smith jumping it up against Aaliyah Boston. The ball is tipped, and it's time to hoop at Indy.
A 10-0 run to start this game for Indiana, and Minnesota wants a timeout.
Powers up top, tees it up, 3. It's good! Energy!
Kicks it out, Powers. You bet! Back-to-back threes from Ariel Powers.
The Fever double up the Lynx in the first quarter. It's Indiana 28, Minnesota 4.
Part of the story came from unexpected heroes. Odyssey Sims, a hardship signee, dropped 15 points, playing like someone determined to prove she still belongs. Then Ariel Powers delivered the dagger. With Minnesota closing in, she buried back-to-back threes that flipped momentum back to Indiana. It wasn't just 6 points. It was the gut punch that told the Lynx this night wasn't theirs.
Indiana is 4 for 4 from 3-point range. Mitchell connects on a 3. Sims leaning jumper is good.
Kelsey driving left, puts it in off the backboard.
Will to it. For the first half, Indiana shoots 58% from the floor.
And yet Caitlin Clark was still right in the mix, even in street clothes. Cameras caught her signaling for a timeout, waving her arms like a coach on the sideline. She called coverages, gave instructions, even joked with refs. Teammates looked her way for cues, proof her impact hasn't slowed just because she can't suit up. Coach Clark isn't an official role, but in that game, she might as well have been wearing a polo.
Mitchell, open 3. It's good. You can! Kelsey Mitchell is a hooper.
Passes Dantas left corner 3. Bullseye! Shot clock. Boston left block makes it in.
So, was this victory a fluke? No chance. It was a controlled statement from a team no longer just trying to survive, but proving it belongs in playoff conversations, even without its brightest star. And while the group effort impressed, the story everyone talked about afterward wasn't just the win. It was one moment of redemption. That moment belonged to Lexie Hull, whose showdown with Kayla McBride became one of the night's biggest talking points. What's more satisfying than a team proving people wrong? Watching one player get the kind of payback fans had been waiting for. For Hull, that moment came the second she stepped on the floor against Minnesota. Weeks earlier, she'd been on the receiving end of McBride's elbow to the face. Blood on the court, confusion in the arena, and then the unbelievable twist. The refs hit Hull with the technical instead of punishing McBride. A tough night turned outrageous. Fans didn't just feel angry for her, they felt insulted on her behalf. It became more fuel for the perception that Indiana doesn't get fair treatment. So naturally, when the Fever drew Minnesota again, all eyes locked on Hull. Every Indiana fan wanted to know how she'd answer. Would she shy away from guarding McBride? Let that low point linger? Or flip it into something that sent the message loud and clear? The demand for justice hung over the game before the opening tip. This wasn't just another matchup, it was a test of character.
Here's Mitchell. I think that's a 2. Doesn't go. And now it's McBride getting Hull. Yeah, that one might be a problem. Indiana just taking shots to
The responsibility on Hull had already jumped because of the roster chaos. With Sophie Cunningham down, she became the team's only healthy wing. That meant heavy minutes, more shots, and little margin for error. In the previous Minnesota game, she logged nearly 40 minutes and scored 23 points, her best outing in a Fever uniform. She didn't look like a fill-in anymore. She looked like a central piece. The confidence showed in every drive, jumper, and defensive rotation. Hull had built all the momentum she needed before the moment arrived.
For Indiana, but then Bolton gives it right back, and Howard cashes in.
To perform like this, but they have 5 different players almost at all times who can bring the ball up the floor. Usually 4 or 5 were adept at making shots from deep. I mean, you just saw a big there creating her own look as well from Natasha Howard. Career high in terms of her field goal percentage, and you see her here, the little spin to the middle.
It came in the second quarter when Hull matched up with McBride at the top of the key. One quick dribble left, a hesitation, and McBride lunged. Her balance vanished, her legs tangled, and the cameras caught it instantly. Kayla McBride had been dropped, ankles buckling under her. The crowd erupted, and within minutes, the clip blew up online. Indiana fans called it karma, neutral fans called it hilarious. For Hull, it was just basketball. But for everyone else, it was bigger. The arena went electric. Teammates leapt off the bench, fans leaned forward, knowing they'd just seen payback in real time. That crossover wasn't revenge for an elbow. It was justice in motion. Instead of being the victim, Hull flipped the script and embarrassed the same opponent w'ho'd left her bloodied.
Now, one thing to know. Vegas, one thing to know. Vegas currently is a 3, but if they win out, they will be the 6.
It came in the second quarter when Hull found herself matched up on McBride at the top of the key. One quick dribble to her left, a hesitation that sent McBride lunging. Her balance disappeared, her legs tangled, and the league's cameras captured what everyone in the arena instantly recognized. Kayla McBride had just been dropped and looked like her ankles took the brunt of it. The crowd roared, and within minutes, the clip exploded across social media. Indiana fans called it karma.
Players who is messy, and she's on your team, you love her, and if she's on the other team, she's just annoying. Right? She just gets in and kind of rip the ball out of Smith's hands and just end the effort.
Even beyond that one highlight, Hull's defense set the tone. She hounded Minnesota's backcourt, forcing tough shots, deflecting passes, and breaking their rhythm. The box score won't show it, but anyone watching saw how hard she made life for the Lynx guards. Empty trips piled up, and the league's top team suffered one of its worst offensive nights of the season. That mattered just as much as the crossover, even if it didn't go viral. Hull's story mirrors Indiana's. Written off, hit with brutal calls, and doubted at every turn, yet still finding ways to shine when it mattered. The Fever keep getting cast as underdogs, but like Hull, they don't fade. They rise when pressure stacks against them. Her crossover wasn't just a funny clip. It symbolized how Indiana battled through injuries, bad whistles, and endless doubt. One play captured the grit that pushed them to their first winning record in nearly a decade. Now, the Fever charge into the playoffs with momentum, fans buzzing, and Clark's return still ahead. This isn't a fluke. It's the first real step in Indiana's climb back to relevance. Show some love for Lexie in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit notifications so you never miss the ride.